Imagine waking up in a world that feels utterly tangible, vivid in its details, yet fundamentally insubstantial at its core. The sun's warmth on your skin, the texture of a leaf between your fingers, these sensations anchor us to reality, or so we believe. But what if this grounding is not as concrete as it appears? What if beneath the surface of everyday experience, there is a deeper architecture, a framework echoing the strange, elusive nature of dreams? This is where the threads of simulation theory begin to weave into the fabric of consciousness, inviting us to explore not only the nature of reality, but the role we play within it as creators, or at the very least, co-creators. Simulation theory proposes that what we call reality might be an intricate construct not unlike a digital simulation, meticulously programmed yet flexible, obeying rules that are consistent but not necessarily physical in the traditional sense. Some physicists and philosophers entertain the possibility that our universe is an elaborate algorithm, one layer in a grand cosmic code. But to consider this is not merely to speculate about technology or futuristic societies. It is to challenge our very assumptions about what it means to exist. Neville Goddard, a thinker who explored consciousness through the lens of imagination and personal experience, offers a perspective deeply resonant with these ideas. He suggested that reality itself is fundamentally shaped by consciousness, and that what we imagine with feeling and conviction influences the world we perceive. There is no divide between inner and outer realms. Rather, the outer world reflects the inner state, much like a reflection in a still pond. This view does not require a mystical leap, but calls us instead to rethink the power and mechanics of perception and creation. When juxtaposed, simulation theory and Neville's teachings illuminate each other. If the universe operates like a simulation, then consciousness may not be a mere byproduct of physical processes, but could be the source code itself, or at least a vital interface through which reality unfolds and becomes malleable. Just as a computer program runs because there is an underlying system executing its code, reality might play out because consciousness observes, interprets, and thereby actualizes certain possibilities over others. But what does it mean to say that consciousness shapes reality? The metaphor of a dream is inviting here because dreams are an intimate, experiential realm where the imagined and the real overlap without clear boundaries. In dreams, our thoughts can build entire landscapes, conjure people, and twist the narrative with a turn of will, or sometimes without it. Our waking life typically feels more rigid and governed by external laws. Yet when we examine the creative power of intention, belief, and attention, it suggests a participatory dynamic rather than passive reception. Surely consciousness is not a blank canvas or a simple receiver, but an active participant with a subtle hand in the unfolding of existence. This introduces questions about freedom and determinism. Are we limited players within a scripted system, or do we have genuine agency to reimagine the parameters of the simulation? Perhaps it is not an either-or scenario, but a more complex dance where the boundaries between creator and creation are porous, shifting according to levels of awareness and focus. Consider the analogy of a vast, immersive theater where the actors are also the playwrights and the audience simultaneously. The script is not fixed but emerges moment by moment, shaped by each participant's choices, emotions, and perceptions. Within this interplay, reality is both stable enough to allow for predictable patterns and fluid enough to adapt to the nuances of individual and collective consciousness. Yet acknowledging this does not mean dismissing the solidity of the physical world or the shared consistency of experience. Instead, it suggests a layered nature to reality, a kind of nested hierarchy where the empirical and the experiential coexist and inform each other. We do not simply dream, we dream within a dreaming, a recursive loop that blurs the lines between the imagined and the manifest. This perspective encourages us to approach existence with a quiet wonder, recognizing the enigmatic quality of our own presence. It invites us to reflect on how our beliefs and inner narratives may ripple outward, subtly sculpting the contours of what we call reality. And simultaneously, it reminds us of the mystery that remains, the unknowable forces and frameworks that sustain the phenomenon of consciousness and its interplay with the cosmos. So where does this leave us? Neither trapped in a rigid, predetermined matrix nor floating in formless illusion, We might dwell within a paradox, the dreamers who shape the dream while being shaped by it. To embrace this is to step into a space of possibility, humility, and curiosity, acknowledging that the act of perception itself is a creative force. In this dance between simulation and consciousness, the question shifts from seeking absolute answers to living the question itself. What new understandings might unfold when we slowly release our need for certainty and instead lean into the unfolding mystery of existence? What does it mean to awaken, if not to recognize that the dream and the dreamed are inseparable facets of one profound reality?